for them. But why should I? I'm alone.
Hey everybody, my name is Chris, and this is my audio obsession. So, today's video, I am planning on actually showing stuff that I've been listening to. Specifically listening to today, while I was at work. So as soon as I got home, I dug out the vinyl so I can show everybody. So there's really no rhyme, reason, form, whatever. These just what I was listening to today. Before I get there, I'm gonna do a shout out here. I had mentioned these guys on my last video that I did. These guys are called Algoma. This would be a Northern Ontario heavy sludge band. The album is called Reclaimed by the Forest. Came out in 2014 on Deadbeat Media. Fantastic band, absolutely fantastic, heavy as all hell. So check these guys out, come across them. I will show the inside, and I'll actually pull this insert out so you can get a better look. It's got fantastic cover art. And came with a pick. Anyways, on to my first album that I was listening to. So this band came out in '77, I believe. And this particular album that I pulled out, 1980, an absolute fantastic album, a total classic. This band has got a huge metal following. They kind of were one of the bands part and parcel for helping to pave the way for like the new album, new wave of British heavy metal, even the power metal. So anyways, this band right here, I'm sure most of you would know, but if you haven't, Saxon and Wheels of Steel. Like I said, this album is absolutely incredible. It's 100% a classic in the metal, hard rock community. They almost have, I think to me on the second side, starting with Freeway Mad, they kind of have this almost like AC/DC type feel to it. The bounce that they had, the rhythm, really, really cool. First song on the first side, Motorcycle Man. If you have not, for some reason, if you've been living under a rock, have not heard this album, check that song out. An absolute favorite of mine. Wheels of Steel is huge. I'm sure most everybody knows Wheels of Steel. But an absolute fantastic, classic, heavy metal, hard rock, power metal, whatever you want to call it. Fantastic must-have album. So now, this next album, I admit I am like really late to the party on this one by a few decades. I only came across them I'd say about maybe 3 years ago-ish, somewhere in around there. And I believe I was watching YouTube video or I don't know, honestly I can't even remember, it doesn't matter. But when I heard, actually it would have been, yeah, the title track to this album, I was blown away. Now, why ramble on? I'm just going to show it to you. Grim Reaper, See You in Hell. Check out that cover art. I freaking love that. Really freaking cool. So this album came out in '84. This particular version came out, it was repressed in 2013, and it was put out on Music on Vinyl. So anybody who gets any sort of repress through Music on Vinyl will know exactly what I mean when I say they do an absolute fantastic job. I've got a handful of stuff that I've gotten represses from this specific company, and every single one is fantastic. The sound quality is just right up there. Absolutely incredible. But this album in particular, I'd have to say that this one is my favorite of Grim Reaper. Now, mind you, they've got other albums and they sound really, really freaking cool, but this one, it just, I don't know, stood out to me more. So stuff like See You in Hell, Dead on Arrival, Liar, like, this album is just absolutely jam-packed. There's not one bad song on this album at all, whatsoever. Oh man, what else can I say other than Steve Grimmett's vocals? Holy hell. He can hit them high notes. And I mean belt those freaking high notes. Unbelievable. Huge set of pipes. Musically, absolutely incredible. Like I said, there's not a bad song on this album. Really, really incredible. If you have not checked this one out, you got to. You absolutely have to. The next one on my list, a little more slower paced and a whole hell of a lot more doomier. This band came out in early 2000s. This particular album came out in 2019. It was a long time in between albums. They've actually only got, I believe, 2 full lengths starting since 2000 up until now. And then maybe 2 EPs or split here and there somewhere. Anyways, these guys come from Rochester, New York, and they are Druid. See that cover there? Pretty cool looking cover. And it's Ruins of Eternity. Now, these guys, traditional doom. This is what this is. 100% traditional doom. Fantastic. Musically, absolutely fantastic. The guitar tone on this is just, it's almost perfect. Absolutely incredible. So, this band would be kind of like, I guess in the Gates of Slumber realm. So if you've heard of the Gates of Slumber, this is pretty well in the same category. Vocal hooks, fantastic. Great singing. And this one came out on Cruz del Sur. Do you see that? Which lately I've been pumping out all kinds of great stuff. So I was really fortunate enough that when I came across this band, I believe somebody made a post on Facebook on one of the metal vinyl collectors, and I'm not exactly sure how I came across it, but I know it was on a Facebook post, and I checked them out, and I was just, oh man, completely blown away. They sound so freaking good. Oh my god. I can't even pick out a song on the album because I have a tough time trying to pick out stuff that I like more than the other. Usually when I get into a band, into an album, I dive so bloody far into it that I can't pick one over the other. I love it all. Which to me, I think that speaks volumes for this style of music and all kinds of other styles of, say, rock, metal, stoner, whatever. I find bands like that, they're not like your top 40s where you've got one hit single and then that's about it, and then the rest is all just a bunch of filler crap. Big difference when we're talking music like this. But definitely well worth checking out, especially if you're into the traditional doom, even like in the realms of like St. Vitus area, which I'm a huge freaking fan of, absolutely. check them out. So now, this next band. So, what do you get when you have a slightly broken up, slightly overdriven Marshall amp, and then you shove one of these bad boys in front of it? Well, first off, you get my favorite guitar tone. Hands down, a dirty amp with a fuzz face in front of it. I'm sorry, but you can't beat that tone. I mean, I love, you know, metal, death metal, and all that stuff, but there is something to be said about thick fuzz tone, especially into an overdriven amp. It all of a sudden goes woolly and crazy, and it's just by far my absolute favorite guitar tone. So when you do that, you end up getting, now they're kind of lumped into the stoner rock category. I wouldn't call them stoner rock, me personally. They're I don't know, a hard fuzz rock band. I don't see them lumped in with stoner because they really don't have that persona. But anyways, that's what the record companies do because they gotta label everything, right? So this is one of my absolute favorite bands of all time, and this is my favorite album from them. And that would be Fu Manchu's In Search Of. Now this bad boy came out in '96, and I vividly remember when I first saw these guys. I believe it was a video for Tilt on Much Music, which was Canada's MTV. And the guitar tone, I was strictly into death metal back then. Strictly into death metal, Slayer, thrash, whatever. But when I heard the thick guitar tone and just the nasty notes that come out of it, I'm like, oh man, I am so into that. And they had such a cool groove that had nods to, like, you know, throwback to the 70s. And of course, they sang about cars, hot rods, all the stuff I'm into, skating, whatever you have. Absolutely love this band. And when I saw this album out, I remember I got it on CD first, and I was blown away. The opening track, Regal Beagle, just totally sets the mood to tell you where this album's headed. And it is the production on this. So in later albums, they started to slowly get a little bit cleaner. They still strictly, it was fuzz tone, but they started, you know, probably making more money and just cleaning things up a little bit. But the production on this record, in particular, I absolutely love. It's probably, honestly, I would say the sound on this, it would be my all-time favorite record. It is so thick and heavy. Unbelievable. I can't say enough good things. It's just every time I hear that guitar tone, a little snippet of a song, it's like, right away, I know exactly who this is and what this is. Unmistakable sound. This is another album just jam-packed. All really cool stuff. I suppose if you lump them into the stoner rock category, probably the most stoner song, I guess, would be Neptune's Convoy. It's got a really trippy sound to it. It's a slow paced and, you know, some effects in here. I'd say that that's probably their most stoner song. But the rest of any of Fu Manchu's songs are always like upbeat, rockin', really cool riffs, full of riffs. They're literally just front to back, loaded full of riffs. And every single one of them is catchy as all hell. Now, Song 6, Cyclone Launch, I will say without a doubt, it is the thickest riff ever. So the song starts off with the main riff, and it is, like I said, the thickest, heaviest riff. And I don't even care death metal bands or whatever, I'm sorry, but it ain't gonna get any thicker than this, and it's freaking incredible. So if you need to check out a song, if you haven't heard this album, check out Cyclone Launch on this, and I'll guarantee you'll agree with me, it's a it's a freaking cool riff. Try not to swear because my girls like watching the videos, so I gotta try and keep some of that down. But yeah, Asphalt Rising, man, another, I'm sure if anybody's heard Fu Manchu, you know that tune. But an absolute stacked album, and of course I've got all their albums, but if I had to absolutely choose, this would be my all-time favorite. They nailed it on the production and the writing, all the songs. It was just do an album, no frills, and it just comes out perfect. And it's something that you don't want to mess with. You don't want to go, redoing or nothing. This is how it came out, and it's absolutely perfect. Now, the next album, this one came out in 2019, and this is a shift from Fu Manchu. And these guys, I would say, it's just a straight up, no frills, death doom. Just hands down, swampy, death, nasty sounding, really deep guttural, the deep and dark whisper guttural vocals, and that would be Mortiferum. Disgorged from Psychotic Depths. Try and get that. See if we can get that in there. And almost an unlegible, band name. Got to stare at it for a little bit, but you get them eventually. So yeah, this album right here is just straight up. It's on the lines of the what the Finnish did. I mean, they pretty much nailed the tone. The Finnish death metal. The Finns absolutely nailed the death doom, and this is pretty much like a nod to that era. So it's not really, reinventing the wheel. It's not doing anything. It's just, here it is. There you go. This is what it is. And straightforward. And you know what? When you just want to put something on in this genre, this is a definite go-to album for me because it's really well done. Very well written. Doomy, sludgy, like tuned down to, I don't know, they're not tuned down as low as Conan. I'd swear Conan was like tuned down to Z. These guys are probably tuned down to W. But yeah, this thing came out on Profound Lore. So yeah, an absolute fantastic Death Doom album, just straightforward. And the last one here is in the form of a cassette. So I would have to thank Melanie Burke from Melanie Loves Death Metal because she pointed them out in a video. And what floored me was that here I'm listening to somebody down in the States tell me about a band who's literally like an hour and a half away from me, and I didn't even know about them. And as soon as she showed it and mentioned about it and the limited quantity, I thought, oh, okay, I gotta hear these guys and get on this. So I went onto their Bandcamp page, and they just so happened to have this cassette that's limited to 20 copies. And this will be kind of hard to see because thankfully I got it kind of personalized. And this would be Phantom Crawl. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. I'll pull it out of the slipcase here. Well, first I'll show you the tape. So it's called Spellbound Suffering. And this came out in 2020. So a nice yellow cassette. And so it's a 4-track album. I guess you could say EP. It's almost around a full length. So, but we'll call it EP for sakes. Get this J card out here. So now we can get a better look at the cover. Really cool cover. as most death metal bands always have the cool morbid covers and a next to impossible legible band logo. And this was put out on Sewer Rock Records. So interestingly enough, this is a one-man band. The main guy here is Lucas Gismondi. I hope I pronounced that right. He does everything. All the instruments, this is all just one guy. And I gotta say, what an incredible job. I was expecting, I don't know why I was expecting, but I just kind of thought it'll probably come in the form of demo quality, which, I mean, hey, that's fine. That would sound cool. It has a nastiness to its own. But this is top notch, though. This is absolutely fantastic death metal. There is nothing demo quality about this. This is like top shelf production. Absolutely incredible. Start to finish. Riffy as all hell. Doomy in some areas. Really technical. And sometimes while I was listening today, I actually caught some nods towards like bolt thrower-esque riffing style, which is like, yeah, that sits well with me. Huge bolt thrower fan. So, yeah, I mean, cavernous vocals, like really deep. Actually, the vocals kind of remind me of Eternal Rot, which I can thank, I believe Liam. Yeah, I believe it was Liam who posted CD or vinyl, I can't remember, but I know he kind of pointed me in that direction, and their vocals are, I don't think you're going to reproduce them live like this, but really deep, echoey, just cavernous, big, huge, awesome sound. And this kind of follows the same suit, so it's a really cool sound, really cool tone. But yeah, absolutely very well written, and I'm extremely happy to get this. And being in contact with somebody too, like that's really close by, it was kind of cool. Get mine personalized, and yeah, actually he mentioned he might check this channel out. So here you go. I'm representing today. So that is going to be it for today. Just well, I hope it's a quickie. Can't see. No, we're like almost 23 minutes. So yeah, okay. So it's normal time here. I thought it was going to be a short one. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully if you watched it to the end. And next week I'll probably be doing the same. Unless I come up with some sort of idea, a theme that I want to do. But I've actually been getting like a whole handful of stuff in. And I got to start showing some stuff. I mean, I'm having a tough time figuring out what to put on the record player next, because I got so many in at once, and now it's like, oh, I got so much great stuff to put on. But anyways, let's stop babbling. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.